Welcome back to One Eye Television. Today we got a great episode. Today we're going to be talking about what it's like for me to be able to paint, draw, and sketch the human body. One of the things that I've learned in this art world about creating is learning how to draw the body of a human figure is one of the hardest things you could ever do when it comes down to creating art, especially the hands and the feet. And sometimes for me it's I could say the body structure when you're creating art. But one thing I've learned too, in this episode I will be showing you all how I create, what I see when I looking at the human figure, and how I turn the human figure into shapes. And that's how I get my concept on paper when I'm creating art. So in this project that I'm doing, as far as the sketching part of this figure, and as far as the painting part, I'm gonna be using oil paintings to create this painting. But before we get into that, I want to go to another subject that I also want to talk about in this episode. And one of this episode is going to be about the science of me creating and drawing faces. When I was little, and I used to sketch and draw things around when I was in juvenile detention centers. When I was coming up, I used to have magazines and things, and I used to draw and try to copy different cartoon characters or famous rappers or whatever. And one of the things that I learned when I was growing up was if you can master sketching faces, you can just about draw anything. So as over the years of me creating art and drawing and painting, I learned how to really capture the real human figure exactly the way they are. And a lot of times it took me from different stages. And one of the things that I learned in drawing faces was everybody have a different face structure, a different nose, a different eyes, a different mouth structure. And the way I learned, I ain't gonna say I self-taught. Well, you could say in so many ways, I self-taught myself how to look at the face and what I'm looking at in the face to be able to create it, But I must say that I did get a lot of tips and a lot of ideas from other artists on how to draw and sketch faces. But when I first began, what I used to do, it's pretty strange, but it was very interesting now that I look back on it, how I was creating the faces. Because I would draw an eye first, one eye, then I would draw the second eye. But I would also measure between the first eye and the second eye, because there's only so much space or inches. I ain't gonna say inches, but there's only so much space between both eyes. I don't care who you look at. Just like the two eyes, and then you have the nose. It's only so far the eyes and the nose are from each other, far as the mouth as well. From the mouth to the chin, from the chin to the neck. You see, from the eyes to the ears, from the eyes to the eyebrows, from the eyebrows to your hairline. So when I used to sketch, and I used to try to get those measurements this long before I ever had any type of education on how to look at something to sketch it. So this is why I'm breaking it down to you, my first stages of creating art. So as I continue on to study and travel different cities, different states, I would go around artists on the street artists that used to sketch faces. And I used to watch them, how they sketch. You had people that could sketch human figures less than, I'm gonna say 3 minutes. They could sketch a portrait of someone that fast. As for me, in my first stages of sketching, it would take me anywhere from, I think, maybe 30 minutes to an hour when I first began to sketch, because I was just a rookie in the game. So my point is this: as I continue to learn how to break down and learn the science of sketching faces, I began to sketch and sketch and sketch, and I began to sell my art on the streets, and I began to feel proud of my artwork. And the reason why I'm bringing this subject up to you all about me sketching faces is because, as you can see in the art world, a lot of the most famous artists or famous portraits, like Mona Lisa, just so many portraits that's been done all over the world, like with the girl with the white pearl earrings. It's so many different levels of art, but the main art, when you see art in some of the most famous arts, is when you look at the paintings, they have faces in them. So in saying that, due to my Islamic beliefs, now when I was younger, I always had Islamic beliefs, but to actually live by Islamic principles was something that I had to grow into. And as I continue to grow with my art, I continue to grow with Islam. So my point is this: the older I got, the more I began to study Islam, the more my perception and my faith grew in my belief as a Muslim. So in Islam, it is forbidden to sketch faces, to draw faces. The reason why it's forbidden to draw faces is different levels of why you shouldn't, as far as a Muslim, because one of the reasons is because people worship because of the worshiping of the faces or the famous people or whatever. And in Islam, you can't worship nothing but one God, and that's Allah, which I choose to call the Creator. So what I'm trying to say to you is, as I got good in my craft as being an artist, I struggle with letting go of drawing and painting in faces. So I continued to draw faces at a younger age. I was drawing faces, making money from it. But at the same time, I would run across Muslim brothers and they would tell me that, Muslims don't supposed to do that. And for some period of my career as an artist, it bothered me because that was like my passion, and that was like I was like, I ain't gonna say I was praised for it, but it was like I love to create different face expressions, all types of different things as far as an artist. So my point is this: the more I continued to draw faces, the more it bothered me. So maybe I must say, from the last 3 to 4, 5 years, I stopped drawing faces. It was hard. I'm gonna tell you, it was stages. It was different stages where I would draw, then I tried to, and I would contemplate, okay, if I can't draw faces, what can I draw? So I began to study other artists other Islamic artists, other artists, or I began to study all types of artists to see what type of art could I draw if I can't draw faces. Because mind you, my foundation was built on creating faces. So as I continued to draw, I began to move towards other things, as far as landscapes, but you can draw human figures, but sometimes you can draw a human figure with their back turned, or with you just can't draw faces. So, and what I'm trying to tell you is that I had to get into the level of where me creating and drawing human beings is where they either not showing their face or certain things like that. So as I continue on in this journey as far as creating, I began to, now mind you, it still bothered me that I couldn't draw faces. And even to this day, I would see different people who create art and they draw faces, and they get a lot of recognition for creating faces. And it's like it to a certain degree, I know which one I'm gonna choose. If I'm gonna choose my belief as a Muslim, or I'm gonna take the praisal or the reward of this worldly life. So I chose to use my faith in what I believe in to create art and find different ways to create my art. So the point I'm trying to make to you all today in this episode, I want to share with you all this model that I would be sketching and drawing and painting is where I had to sketch her, but also I had to find my ways to not draw her face. And in this sketch, you can see me sketching her hair. You can see me sketching her ears, her neck, her body figure, her arms, her legs, different things in the body, and how the sun or the light is reflecting off her body to kind of get the different levels or different degrees of her as being a human figure. So mind you, as I continue to sketch in this piece of art, I'm looking for all the shapes. I'm looking for all her highlights and her lows and her darks and her gray areas. I'm looking for the different types of things that can make her, because mind you, I can't draw faces, so it's more like I gotta try to figure out how to create her portrait, as where even though I can't draw the face figure, I have to make this painting more detailed around her face. I have to make even the background, even the, like I said, the hair texture, the ear texture, different things like that. And I must say, since I've been into creating portraits or creating art or human figure bodies without faces, at some degree, when I show my work now, a lot of people really like the idea that it don't have faces, and some people consider it feel like it gives more, I guess, curiosity of who this could be, or what spirit, what type of character or personality that this painting could have. And that is like, no faces is like the mystery of this person. And so that's something that I take from it. And so as you can tell in my sketches, and also you're gonna see also in the painting of it, where I have to really go around the face structure of creating faces. I haven't drawn or painted a real live model in a while, so me sketching her was a very honor to be able for her to sit and model for anywhere from 30 to 20 minutes, sometimes 10. We take different angles at how we sketch her, and I think my position where I'm at sketching her, I think it's a very interesting position where I'm in, because I get a chance to see her whole body. I get a chance to see the different lights and shades on her body, and as you can see, she's a up in age model, and the way her face structure and the way her body is presented to us, I like the way I like how my pencil kind of defined her body on my piece of paper or the sketch pad that I have. So like I said, and even when she comes and going around looking at everybody sketch her, and that's another thing you would like the model. You love for the model to come around and look at your work to see, because they like to see what do we as artists see in her, or what do we see, how do we perceive her to the world. So when she comes around, or any model comes around and look at the other artist's work, it's amazing. It's like they see themselves through other people's eyes, and everybody have their own perception from their eye perception. And so as we continue on into this creation, you can see I'm moving from sketching and shade lights and darks to now I'm starting to move towards the painting process of creating with her. I'm moving towards how I can make her painting, how I can make the painting kind of like describe her when you look at my painting without the face. Now, I haven't really got into painting in like I said, the last couple of years, but I have slowly but surely became back into the process of using brushes and oils and canvases because I had moved on to the digital world. But even though I moved on to the digital world, the process of painting is always with me. It's in my genes to be able to create with paintings and brushes and canvases. So me looking at her, another thing I learned about creating with paint and creating or sketching models with paint and brushes. Sketching with a pencil is very easy for me because that is like my first level that's my traditional way. Before I ever got any type of education or college or anything, that was my first thing that I loved about sketching with a pencil, But once I went into to further my education as far as being an artist, like enrolling in a college and being around different artists, I began to learn how to use the brushes. And see, when you're using a brush compared to a pencil, a pencil have one point. It have one pointed lead, as where a brush have different fiscal. It just have a whole lot of going on with, and also the canvas is rough compared to a sheet of paper. A sheet of paper is a flat surface. When it comes to a canvas is rough, and it's different layers. Even though a piece of paper have different layers and you can go over and over it, but it's not like a canvas. A canvas is more rougher. So if you can see in my painting, me creating with art, me painting and using oils and things like that, you can see the different levels of what it's like to paint. And no lie, in my first stages of painting, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of emotions of painting because I didn't like to paint because it was uncomfortable. But once I understood that the only way that I would be able to get better with painting, I have to come out my comfort zone. And coming out my comfort zone was one of the most hardest things that I ever had to do, because I would judge my paintings off other artists' paintings, and my paintings weren't as good as my other artists, or comparing my art, my sketch or pencil art, to compare it to my painting art wasn't as good as well neither. So as I continue on with this painting, you can see the detail that I'm using and the mixing of the colors, the mixing of the paints, trying to get her skin tone. And that's another thing, a whole nother subject as far as when it's come down to painting. See, when you're painting, especially different skin tones, you have to learn how to mix the colors, mix the paint, to be able to get the painting of the skin tones of the human that you're trying to capture in your painting. And sometimes that can be very, very frustrating to be able to do. And that's something that I learned as well. And as I continue to create, continue to move towards making this painting as I want it, you can see how I move around and I continue to get more perception, more detail, as you can see, because I try to look for different things that I missed. I really study when I'm looking at a object. I'm really looking at where's the lights, where is the darks. Can I get more detail, or do my subject need more layers, more shading, more just every different type of thing that I can possibly do in a painting to get it the way I really want it. And I must say, sketching and painting her, it's been fun. I really love when I have a chance to be able to paint and produce a good painting of a model, because like I said, when you're creating a model, it's creating a still life is amazing. But when you creating a human being, when you sketching, see, when I'm sketching, I'm looking at how the creator created this human being. That's something that when I'm looking at an object and I'm painting or drawing it, I'm looking at how amazing the hands are, the arms, the elbows, the neck, the ears, the hair, the chin, even though I can't draw faces no more. But that's just something that I wanted to kind of like break down to y'all in this episode, because I wanted people to know that there's different types of artists, different types of laws in art. There's different types of degrees in art. And one of the scientifics of a Muslim creating art is they are forbidden to draw faces. They are forbidden to create anything with eyes, mouth, and nose. And as me being an artist, that was something very, very hard for me to move away from, because like I said, I grew up sketching faces. I grew up hustling. That's how I hustled in the streets. I was able to draw portraits for families. People asked me, can you draw my family, my daughter, my son, my dad, my mother? So I was like, yeah, I could draw, and I would, with ease. I had mastered. When you master something, just picture that. So picture you beginning a journey, something that you love to do. You take years and years to master that goal or that dream. And once you mastered it, and you master it, you have a highly good confidence in mastering this process. So imagine you mastering your craft, and now you have to let the craft go because it is forbidden in your faith. And like I said, that was hard for me to do. That was very hard, because I wanted to keep going with my dream as creating faces, because faces, when you see portraits with faces with different expressions, it tells a story in itself. So as I continue with this journey now in my art, I had to move. Instead of being on this journey, I had to carve another way to create on a whole nother level. And now I have to, and I'm still in the process of carving my way, my own lane as an artist without faces. So what I have started doing, like I said, I started studying different ways to create humans without showing faces, but also how can I tell the expression? How can I speak to the world without faces? How can I speak to the people or to my audience when I'm creating art? Can I do it without the face expression? So as you can see in this painting, I continue to use the brush to make the things that I love about this art. I'm continuing to keep going with it. It's just amazing how I could use my hands on canvas to create beautiful artwork to the people. And taking this class with these amazing artists, we feel each other energy, we get each other perceptions, concepts, and each one of us encourage each other to keep going. Each one of us encourage us, even when we may feel like our artwork is not good enough, because we always comparing our artwork to other artists. So even in those moments, we still inspiring each other to help each other, uplift each other. And a lot of times when I'm sketching and drawing and painting around other artists, I always ask them, how did you do that? Show me how you do that. Show me how you mix that painting. Show me how you use the brush on the canvas. Show me how you took that and made it this way or that way. So that is something that I love about being in the art world, being amongst the artists, because you always can take your art, your skills to the next level when you're amongst great artists. And like I said, even the instructor that I have for this class has taught me amazing different ways to create art, different ways to take my life and look at it and here's another thing I learned as well. When in her class, I become to understand that she don't want a perfect painting. She want a realistic painting. That's what I'm going to say. And that's something I learned by taking this class is when in her class, she don't want you to get it exactly perfect like a photograph. She says she wants you to learn how to paint and make a painting. Now that's something, because all my life I've been striving to, when I paint or draw something, I want to make it look realistic as possible. And so what I'm trying to say is I still can make things realistic as possible, but I also open up a whole new nother area where I can make paintings where it's not so realistic, but when you look at it, it's beautiful art, but it's a painting, not a portrait looking painting. So I'm glad y'all was able to join me in this great episode about creating faces, drawing faces, where I had to let that type of art go. It was hard, but one thing it did do for me, it helped me span my other ways, or it helped me take other avenues of creating art. It helped me to see things different. It helped me to see, okay, if I can't draw faces, what can I draw? How can I use my gift now? And like I said, studying other artists, Muslim artists, Islamic artists, I found different avenues. So with that, I just wanted y'all to get another perception of what it's like for me as an artist, what it's like for me to create, what it's like for me to produce good art. Stay tuned for the next episode. Love.
But they're going to be in color. So you can get these transitions in pencil all worked out so that you're not worrying about the color here, and then when you have this as a reference, I want you to bring this on the painting, and you can refer to it.
So it's not the polar.
You could pencil
Well,
all yours.
polars are,
He's got a group, yeah.
yeah, but we're kind of like that.
Yeah.
So next week, we're gonna
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Because you have 3 more sections. Yes, so this is the deal, is that you keep the same pose, so you have a chance to actually, same pose, everything, this is what do. This is sort of down here, this is up. Some things that really do like pictures. Is that cute?
I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Right?
I don't understand what that is. It just happens.
Your hands go off, you're getting this hand out. Did you want to do this hand?
I didn't
I
know.
don't know, how big is your
18 by the thing on this and the big one.
yeah, I don't know if you're gonna have like.
It's about this size.
The same size